Welcome to Brewsers, a podcast about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. I am your host, Roddy John, and today we talk to the UFC Bantamweight champion, Raquel Pennington. We talk all about her championship fight, wearing the belt in public, and the influence of her nana. It is UFC 300 week, and Saturday is going to be absolutely amazing. We don't talk about UFC 300, but actually having the UFC Bantamweight champion, from what you've seen in the news, a lot could happen after UFC 300. There's already some trash talk, so look forward to that this weekend. But make sure to sign up for our newsletter while you're doing that. You get even more information about our guests, you get fun facts, and you get to find out what's happening with your favorite podcast, all about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. And without further ado, here is your UFC Bantamweight champion, Raquel Pennington. I would like to welcome to the show the UFC Bantamweight champion, Raquel Rocky Pennington. How are you doing today, man?
I'm really good. How about you?
I'm doing well. So for
Good.
those listening, kind of paint us a word picture. Where are you at? What's going on around you right now?
So I'm in Colorado at home. I am currently playing Mama Bear. Tisha's making her return, so she's in fight camp. And I'm just holding down the fort. I'm doing some rehab and stuff right now. So, I mean, I pretty much just get to hang out. I actually just got my little one down for a nap.
So this is the most wonderful time of the day for you then.
Absolutely. Although I must say, she's actually pretty fun. So,
Well, she's what, for 9 months now, 8 months?
9 months, yeah.
Wow. So the character's already come through. How's the walking situation?
She is almost there. She will stand for like 30 seconds at a time by herself, and she's just hanging out. She'll take a couple steps. If we're standing in front of her, she'll come walking to us, and then like her last few steps, she dives into us. But other than that, I mean, she's a master with her little walker. She walks along the wall and everything. She just hasn't fully trusted herself yet to walk on her own.
Right. Yeah, I don't have kids of my own, but I love watching my friends' kids, obviously the development as they grow older, and then the personalities come through and the smiles and then the laughs. And then, yeah, once they are walking around and running around, then you're on even more active duty because you have to, you're like, where are they? I don't know. I haven't heard from them in a while.
Listen, I have told Tisha, because she sits there and she gets so excited with these little, milestones that Alea is hitting, and Tisha will try to work with her daily and get her to walk. And I'm like, you might not want to do that. I grew up in a huge Hispanic family. I have all my godkids. I have my niece and nephews. I have all my baby cousins around me. And like, when I say I have a lot of kids around me, I have a lot of kids around me. And so I'm used to it. And Tisha, I mean, obviously this is both our first baby, but it's her first experience, like even being pretty much around a little one full time. Alea was her first diaper change, like all the things. So now she just gets super excited, but I'm like, you're making a mistake, because you think she crawls around pretty quick and we have to keep an eye on her now. The minute she starts walking, it's game over. So I always tell her, I'm like, knock it off. Let her walk on her own. For one, I don't want her to grow up fast.
Well,
and for two, I'm not ready to start chasing her everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you don't want them growing up too fast, but obviously you can't really control that either. And then, I mean, you touched on it already. Once they're out and about, like, you are good luck. You almost need two of you just to keep up with as to what's happening and where they at.
Exactly.
Now, I mean, you mentioned it already. Your wife's, now in the forefront when it comes to training and getting ready for a fight. And she kind of took over whenever you were leading into your championship fight. What has been some of the kind of highlights that you've had when it came to, or I guess favorite things, now that you are the mama bear and you're the one, that you probably had to miss during your camp?
I obviously just got to miss. I was up every morning before Leia even woke up, and she's been a super alert baby since she was born. So one of my favorite things is when she wakes up. I'm not a morning person at all, but somehow having this little girl, she's definitely turned me into a morning person. Her smile can light up the room, and so every time she would just wake up and make eye contact with you, it's the best little moment ever. And I missed that the entire camp. And then on top of that, I was trying to make sure I got proper recovery and stuff. So I actually moved
Mhm.
to the guest bedroom. Um, and so now it's like I don't have to worry about like my sleep schedule too much. I mean, obviously, I'm still trying to stay on track with everything. Be in the gym. I'm helping Tisha with her camp on certain days while trying to, like I said, rehab some stuff. So it's just like a fine balance right now, but I don't have to worry about if I go to sleep too late trying to have that energy for the next day, like we can kind of hang out and have our time. And then, I have so much fun just sitting there eating breakfast with her. She's such a happy baby. She just laughs and giggles. So while we're having breakfast, like she'll just sit there and laugh and giggle. And it's like, it's just such a joy. And then just kind of going out throughout the day, we'll go walk our dogs and I push her in the stroller and just the home life stuff. Like I really felt like I missed out on that for so many months. And it doesn't seem like a big deal or that long or like she's little, but like these are the moments that I cherish. Like I'll never get them back.
Right. Yeah, I mean, as we've already talked about, like her development already, like you say it's only a few months, but like she's 9 months now. Like there's so many months that of development that you probably saw some of the highlights maybe when it came to videos or photos or whatever, but you weren't there for. And so now you get to experience it more, and I bet that's so much more rewarding.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, so you touched on your rehabbing. What are you rehabbing right now?
I had a few nagging injuries. Obviously, when I fought Misha Tate back in 2016, 2 weeks before that fight, I tore my right bicep and my right shoulder. So I had total reconstructive shoulder surgery
Ugh.
and a right bicep repair, and then I had right wrist surgery. And just during that time, and I think over the years, from compensation, it kind of messed with my left shoulder. So my last fight camp, I actually got stem cell mid camp to kind of get me through camp, and now I'm doing the proper rehab and recovery for it.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I had heard, like Michael Jordan and so many other great athletes in the past, you fought your championship fight sick, but you still put on a clinic in that fight. Can you touch on a little bit of how you were feeling that day and, kind of the lead up? And I had heard also you basically had an ear infection, but it ended up being a double ear infection, and you were kind of still out after the fight. So I guess touch on that for us. What all did you go through during that?
Yeah, so it's been a wild journey. We're in March now and finally I feel back to myself, but it kind of ended up running through Alea and Tisha at the end of February, but I honestly didn't feel well until probably the last week and a half of February is when I started to feel more like myself. I have no clue what got a hold of me. It was just like I got frustrated. I had a whole mental breakdown during fight week. Obviously putting on the game face and going through doing all the media stuff. That wasn't my first rodeo. I've been here, done that. So I mean, it was easy to roll through, but it was hard because I had so many obligations during fight week and I kept losing my voice. So it's just like I had to find like a good tone that I can talk in to where it didn't show that I was actually like sick. And the some of the crew at UFC, they were giving me like cough drops in between. But when I was getting ready to fly out to Canada, my flight, our travel got completely jacked up. We're sitting at the airport the night before. I felt like my throat was getting a little raspy, and I was like, okay. So, I don't take anything ever since I developed a thyroid issue, and then the whole
Mhm.
thing came with USADA. The doctors were following me, and then it came about going through a hormone specialist, and then I ended up getting suspended when I tried to do a TUE. And so now it's like I try to regulate my body through strictly nutrition. Um, and so I don't even like to take ibuprofen. I don't like to take any kind of medicine if I'm feeling sick. So I went to the store and I bought some tea that was like a throat coat. And we're at the airport and we're sitting there and it just kept getting worse. And I was like, does how you could just feel something like
Uh-huh.
it's gonna get the best of you? So I started feeling that way. So I actually called UFC and I'm like, hey, like, here's the deal. I don't know what to take. I'm at the airport and they're like, okay, find whatever you can find there or whatever, and we'll go over and see if you can take it. So I ended up finding some Tylenol severe cold and flu or whatever, and I took that. Then we get to Canada, and anyways, it just like I was feeling like absolute crap. So they had a doctor come in. Doctor ended up giving me some medication, said I should feel better come Friday. So was kind of just trying to deal with it. And then Thursday night, obviously we go through our weight cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just broke my immune system down. I woke up Friday morning and it was just, I already felt miserable from weight cut. I felt miserable from being sick. And I was like, let's just go get this done. I actually didn't recover properly like I normally do. It's the smallest I've ever walked into a fight. Like I just didn't want to eat or really drink anything. I slept in between whatchamacallit, weigh-ins in the morning and then ceremonial weigh-ins. We went to dinner afterwards, and at dinner I was just kind of hanging out. Went back to the hotel, tried to sleep that night, and I was just restless because I was miserable. I wake up fight morning and I couldn't even talk. I could barely breathe. I had so much pressure in my face. My freaking head was pounding. My ears hurt. I felt like I had razor blades in the back of my throat. And I was like, oh shit. So I get up and I go in the bathroom and I start spitting up all this mucus. Well, Tisha ended up waking up, and there's usually a lot of emotion fight day and a lot of like different feelings, the nerves. Like I can't sit still usually on fight day. And that morning I was done. Like it was kind of one of those situations where, sometimes you get sick and you go sweat it out, you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Other times you just need to lay down and like completely just do nothing but rest. And that's how I felt. So Tisha wakes up and she's like, good morning, happy fight day. Like, how are you feeling? And as soon as I started talking, her eyes got huge and she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't feel well, Tisha. Um, I don't know if I can fight today. So she freaked out. She went and got our coaches, and all morning, my call time, luckily, since we were the co-main event, was not till 8:45 at night to go to the arena. So all morning they took me up to the treadmill. They were having me try to sprint it out. I was spitting up all this mucus. They were doing everything to like make me sweat. I'm pretty much getting all these workouts in before even going and getting into a fight that night. And then I started to feel a little bit better. So I was like, okay, maybe I like sweated it out. So we went to breakfast and then I just crashed. My body completely crashed. I got body aches on a completely different level. My sports psychologist came in. The coaches were like, listen, we'll respect whatever decision, but you really need to dig deep and decide, because obviously we don't know if they're going to push the fight back. And then the opportunity wouldn't come around again.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of emotion. I tried to push back my hair braiding. That didn't work. So I canceled that appointment. My mom ended up braiding my hair 2 hours before I left to the arena. I tried to sleep. It was terrible. We get to the arena and I remember we're in the back warming up, and I couldn't get myself going. So, I did what I needed to. And then on the walkout, I was pretty much just praying. I was like, please let me get through this. And I got in the octagon, and while they were announcing us, I looked at my coaches, and I told them, I was like, this is going to hurt, because I had no adrenaline. I was so flat. And they were like, hey, like, we do not care what this fight looks like. We need you for 25 minutes. Drag her into deep waters. You could break her. She will not have the cardio, and just get the shit done. And so that's what I did. It was an interesting mountain to climb. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, you're used to climbing these mountains, whether it be, the way you got into the sport, or like you said, the shoulder injury, the bicep injury, like everything that has led to you to this. Of course, you would get sick on the day that you're having a championship fight, that you feel like shit and you can't, you're just praying that you can even make it through the fight, let alone win a fight. So, like, if this wasn't just another, like you said, mountain for you to climb, would it have felt as good, almost?
At first it was tough because I feel like absolute shit. And then, of course, we're vulnerable to the world. The world attacked the bantamweight division. They attacked me as an athlete. It was a lot of negativity at first and not feeling well. Like, it was just like, man, this whole experience absolutely sucks. But now that I'm actually feeling better, feeling like myself, I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm the 6th ever women's bantamweight champion. No one can take that away from me. I've done exactly what I needed to for my career. I'm doing what I need to change my family's life. The best part about fighting is another fight is going to happen. So that can be completely different. I'm super, super proud of myself for going out there feeling exactly how I felt and, becoming the champion.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, now it's like the emotions, they set in, and just all the feelings and like being proud. But at first it was a struggle.